in this article, supposedly, the the Bigfoot hairy man, I guess, creature runs off with the head.
How outside the possibility of, origins are you willing to go? Do you think you could correlate like the stories of the Nephilim to Bigfoot? The next image you see him looking at the camera, saying, "Yeah, everything I said, it was false," and then he's looking off camera like he's scared, and then the kid went missing.
Mr. AIO, did Bigfoot come here illegally?
Probably.
Probably. All right. So why do you think Bigfoot would have even come? Like what would be the reason to did Bigfoot follow the natives, or did the natives follow Bigfoot?
That's actually a good question. I don't know. If you think of it in terms of like a wild animal, it's probably just its own migration into different territories. Maybe it was pushed out by humans. Always trying to find a recluse environment, but humans have populated the earth, so.
So mankind, human beings, we're expanding across the globe, right? And so humans are, early humans are trying to move away from other humans, find more resources. And it kind of has like this bumping effect where one human group bumps another human group, so they kind of move. And then Bigfoot kind of catches or comes in contact with us. And then so they move to try and, I guess, get away as well, in their own tribes. And so maybe possibly they were the ones who first came over the land gap, right? And then it just so happens before the land gap closes, that's when the Native Americans come over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that could be how, if Bigfoot is real, I'm not sold on it, but that could be why Bigfoot is here. Sounds pretty good to you?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I don't think it was a species that was intercontinental, so to speak, and just tackled all types of environments. So I would have to agree with you. If it did exist, I would think that it was pushed out by humans rather than just a natural migration.
Yeah, I mean, like from all the stories, they don't sound too aggressive, at least in terms of hunting, right? I mean, there are some stories that I've seen that I've read how they are aggressive towards people, possibly, but in terms of like hunting and like game and stuff, I mean, really, they just at best or at worst, they really eat fish as far as what I've seen. So like, it doesn't sound like they would be following bison across,
So are they omnivores? Like, do they eat like vegetables? Are they documented per se as eating like berries and vegetables and
I think
greens, or just fish?
you know, I'm not sure if they just eat fish, but that is probably like mostly what I've heard they eat of other animals. But like in terms of the migration, it doesn't seem like they would have a whole lot of reason to migrate. Like they wouldn't be following deer or bison or whatever, like back in the day, way back, right? So like how are you gonna, like, they're not gonna follow the salmon migration, right? They're probably right. How do you?
No.
Yeah, exactly, right. So if they did come to North America, they were probably like pushed here by just people. They're trying to stay away from people, but people kept expanding, so on and so forth. But yeah, as far as what their, like, if we want to get into what their diet is, really the most I've heard is just like fish. Well, like it doesn't sound like they're out here like eating deer, if I mean, yeah.
Well, if we look at how many documented cases we actually have, I don't think we'd see a depopulation of deer due to Bigfoot, killing
actually,
the herd.
so interestingly enough, this doesn't have to do with deer, but somewhere in my digital files, man, it I
Your
probably
library?
in my digital library here, all the stuff I've collected, right? So there is a published article of a man in the 1800s, mid to late 1800s. He's going home, and he's on his horse. He's riding home, and then out of the bushes, out of the side of the road, comes this hairy, ape-like wild man and tears off the head of his horse. So that
Whoa.
sounds yeah, right. That sounds like a pretty violent thing to happen, right? So I guess how that ties in is like why would a Bigfoot do something like that? And so in this article, supposedly the Bigfoot hairy man, I guess, creature runs off with the head, and so
He took it with him.
like to do what with, right? So like do they eat other things? Are they meat eaters other than fish? It just made me think of that story. Like like do they eat?
It depends how hungry you are, right? Like how hungry are you to? First of all, what kind of strength is that? That you can come out and grab a horse and rip its head off.
That dude, absolutely, absolutely. And then I guess it leaves me with more. Obviously, you have a lot of questions like how old is the horse? I wonder if that could be some kind of like horse insurance fraud on like the guy, right? He made it up wholesale, a wholesale fabrication. He's like, "Oh, this horse is old. Let me just quick kill it and claim that some hairy wild man." Because there are these myths that go around. Maybe he used something that he had heard that was going around, and is like, "Yeah, this crazy hairy wild man came out and tore my horse's head off," and then but
Is it so crazy that an insurance company would believe that? Right? Like,
yeah. Well,
how can
yeah.
I get this insurance money? I got a good story.
Do you have a good story? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a Sasquatch tore my horse's head off. That's what happened to me, and that's why I want the money.
You know what? That is a very good. I'm just trying to think of reasons, like because the story just almost came out of nowhere, right?
So what year was this?
Oh
The
man,
story? Like publication?
yeah, like late 1800s. Again, it's in my digital, in my files here somewhere. I'm gonna have to find it again and look it up exactly. But
Now, if we look at modern day, how out of the question would that be seeing what happened to that lady on Oprah? The one that visited her friend's chimpanzee cage and had both her arms, like her wrists, pulled off and her face literally torn off.
I'm not aware of that story. So wait, what?
Ah, so she was live. Well, I don't know if it was live, but she was on Oprah,
Right.
and she went over to her friend's house who had a chimpanzee, and Gucci Gucci Goo let her chimpanzee out of the cage and proceeded to separate her wrists from her arms and tore her face off.
That is what?
You should see some pictures. It's pretty
No,
grotesque.
dude, I'm not good. I'm not good with that kind of stuff. But really? Okay,
But if you have a modern day story akin to something like that, is
gotcha.
it out of the realm of possibility that this massive 10-foot beast came out and grabbed a horse's head and ripped it off?
Sure, to connect connect the behaviors there. That is interesting. I did not hear about that story.
Now, is Bigfoot a monkey? Is it a primate of
Yeah.
sorts?
So Bigfoot would probably be some kind of primate, like in the primate family.
Okay.
Who knows how long ago we separated from? There's actually a YouTuber named Bob Gimlin. He did at the date of us talking right now. It was several months ago. He kind of the most that he was comfortable with calling Bigfoot, I think, might have been like a primate.
Okay.
Yeah, because obviously there's like layers. There's like strata. You go like the kingdom, the phylum, the whatever, the family. In terms of like relations to other creatures here. And do you happen to have the
I'm looking at old Bob right now, Mr. Handlebar Mustache himself.
Bob? He's like a cartoonist, I think.
Okay.
No, but I was talking about the order of animals and family, and how that's separated out, like the animal kingdom pyramid. So yeah,
Take a look. Oh, I see. Okay. So kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species.
yeah. So yeah. So if we go back in time, like where maybe if Bigfoot is real, where we separated from them,
Mhm.
probably, man, somewhere at either phylum or yeah, probably somewhere at phylum.
Okay.
Phylum
So
and
it's a long time ago.
how like how far away are we from apes? Right. So
I don't know. I come from uh, a long list of family of wackos that think that we didn't derive from any evolution, that we were made directly as humans, which I
so
also don't follow that.
so apparently we diverged from gorillas approximately 10 million years ago. So that's plenty of time,
Yeah.
right? Or the common ancestor to them, I guess, because
Mhm.
they weren't gorillas, we weren't gorillas, but I suppose that's where we diverged. Okay.
Okay. So if we derived from gorillas,
Well, no, we did not. We a common ancestor.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they got
Mhm.
uglier, we got better looking. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate for them, but hey, that's how it broke down.
Less hairy women.
Less hairy women, less hairy. Exactly. So I was just actually looking at pictures of female gorillas, and even female gorillas do not have hair on their chest, right? And so why does that matter? I mean, the picture of Patty in the Patterson Gimlin film has
Mhm.
hair on the breasts, which is one of the big points of contention for that video. Is that it doesn't seem correct that a hominid, something that
Mhm.
would come, have a similar ancestry to us, even way back, that it probably would not have hair on the breasts for the females. And so
Mhm.
that is an interesting point to make when people are looking at that video or those pictures, right? Actually,
Ain't that something, huh? They don't have hair on the breasts.
no, they do
They
not,
are,
right?
much as I like looking at ape breasts.
Ape titties, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that is one of the points of contention for the Patterson Gimlin film. And actually, you're closer than I am in Vancouver to the like oh, what is it, Bluff Creek in California? I think you could reach it before I could here in Texas. I mean,
Bluff Creek, huh?
yeah, I think that is where the Patterson Gimlin film was taken. Actually, and the camera that they rented, by the way, it was rented, right? And
Yeah.
I think I can't remember which one. I think it was Patterson, whichever one rented the camera, was in jail briefly for not returning the camera on time, which is kind of an interesting point for the hell. It's I don't know. It's just
Well,
something I
do you think that they had this footage and it freaked them out, or do you think, they were trying to create this video and
oh,
wanted
you
to do the best job possible?
like is it fake? Is the Patterson Gimlin film fake? Is that what you're asking me?
Well, to an extent, yeah. I mean, if you're looking kind of at why the video cameras are turned, loosely rather than on time, then
Oh no, I
is it because it's real or fake?
well no. I mean that I I don't think there's anything nefarious going on with that. I think they just, I can't remember who rented. It was the one who died early. Man, I mean, I'm so bad at the Patterson Gimlin storyline because I think it was Patterson, and then Bob Gimlin is still the one that is around. Am I right on that?
Yeah, Roger Patterson died in 1972.
Yeah. So I think he was the one who had rented out the camera, and then so I think he was. It's not even that big of a deal. I think he just briefly forgot. So yeah, they were deep in the woods. They got this footage allegedly, and then but that was like 6 miles into the woods or however far miles into the woods. So he was late. He didn't turn it in on time. Went to jail briefly. And I think that is kind of interesting. A part of that, I saw one comment, and part of the reason that I have problems with the Bigfoot community is that they don't do as much research as they claim to do. Because I've seen, I saw, I guess, a single comment. So,
more like emotional research.
Well, yeah, like there was an emotional response to someone saying that Patterson had been jailed briefly, which I mean, it's not even that big of a deal, but I think the major issue is the emotional attachment people have to the subject.
Yeah, I could see that being a factor.
And like it's something as innocuous as like it just like I did, like I just mentioned it offhand, like, hey, Patterson went to jail briefly just because he forgot to return the camera on which this film was taken, and then you see it in the comments like, oh, that never happened, blah blah blah. It is kind of indicative to me anyway how emotional people get and how little people actually do research on this subject. I mean, it's not that hard to look into stuff.
I don't know. I find a lot of people are I call them emotional researchers. They keep looking until they find what they're looking for, rather than extrapolating and looking at the evidence themselves and coming to their own conclusion. Yeah. Bigfoot's a pretty big one in this paranormal, out of the ordinary community.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what that tangent was, but I suppose, that's kind of how these things go, man. What were we talking about before?
So, how did Bigfoot arrive?
Yeah.
Is it, based on an ape? As an early ancestor.
Well, yeah. Like, if Bigfoot is real, then obviously we would probably share some kind of ancestry with it. But the part that I don't get is the stuff like the skunk ape, so the Pacific Northwest. Fine, I get that. There's a lot of, it's cold territory, it's mountainous, there's a lot of remote places, but how there could still be an ape-like humanoid creature in the swamps of Florida, like get out of here. That, I mean, it might be vast, but it doesn't. What do you think? I mean, have you ever even been to Florida? First off,
no,
no,
no, I haven't. I'd like to, or do I want to? After watching Tiger King, I don't know. There's some interesting people down there, but yeah, I would like to kind of visit Florida, see what it's all about, but. Is the skunk ape based on like in the Everglades, or is it more northern?
It's kind of all over, actually. Not well in the Florida wilderness, but here's it. Like, Florida is the flattest state in the United States. Like of all the states,
all the water, that kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean it is the flattest state. So I mean, it's not hiding, in the mountains. It's not hiding in a cave. All it has is, or would be, are the swamps.
Mm.
And so,
Yeah. But
yeah,
if we explore, expand that a bit, and we look at like a worldwide spectrum, why does this exist in so many cultures and so many legends and so
sure.
many stories and myths?
Right. And it does. And it does. It
It
exists in a
does,
lot of places. Even so,
right? We have the Yeti. You were mentioning the Yeren.
yeah,
Which
Yaren. Yep.
I've never heard of the Yeren. The Yowie.
Yep.
Never heard of that. The wood woes.
Yeah, so the Yeti and the Yeren are in Asia. Obviously, the Yeti is like the Himalayas. That's the one that's the abominable snowman, right? But
Yep.
the Yeren is also an Asiatic creature. But then the Yowie is in Australia, and the Woodwose is this hairy wild man in Europe, in mainland Europe. And actually, in a previous video, I covered a curious account of a wild man, and so I guess that would be considered a Woodwose. And Woodwose is like a more anglicized version of a Germanic word like Woodwosen, or however they would pronounce it, Woodwosen.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are like carvings of it. Some, like, if you were to like Google a picture of a Woodwose, you would see some like
A
medieval
wood woes.
yeah, like a Woodwose, like a depiction of a hairy man. So like, why do so many cultures have this depiction? It
Mm.
it has to be something, right? Could it be that there's a genetic condition, hyper
Maybe it's just some old retiree that didn't want to pay
uh,
the TV tax.
who's just venturing all across the globe, and people are seeing him and telling stories.
In Europe, the wood woes.
Yeah, no. So yeah, there is a condition called hypertrichosis, right? That is the excessive hair growth all over the body, right?
Okay.
Those, it's like the people, like the dog people, are like, I think that may even be where some of the werewolf myth comes in,
Oh,
right?
those brothers from,
Right,
are
right,
they
right, right.
from Mexico?
So yeah, so it's interesting. So in my video, the curious account of a wild man, or like on that article, right? So
Hmm.
I was curious because that took place in the late 1700s in France,
Okay.
and I was curious, like, where, like, could it be possible that some kid was abandoned right in the forest, somehow against the odds lived, right? And so
Hmm.
I wanted to know, like, if there was any research on abandoned children, and there is.
Wow.
So something like 5% of children at the time were abandoned, or
Wow.
right. So I mean, like
That's a big number.
that 5%. Yes, I mean that is tens of thousands of kids each year. So,
Hmm.
and for all reasons, sometimes, and they obviously they weren't all abandoned in the woods. I'm sure some were like handed over to the church or certain
Hmm.
organizations, right? But some were, right? And one of the reasons are like medical. Like, if your child had some kind of deformity, I mean, you might go put them out in the woods, and then nature will take its course,
Put them out to pasture.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so that was one of the questions that I had for myself, is that could some of these instances of these hairy people be these abandoned children, like, and they'll have no social what do you acuity, or like experience, because
Hmm.
they're abandoned as kids, they're feral, they don't know how to interact with people, so they run around and they act like animals, right? And
I would say that's in the realm of possibilities. That would be more toward the feasible side of things than some ghostly ape that you know somehow secretly exists and people still don't in 2023 have any solid proof or solid evidence other than hearsay
yeah,
or blurry videos
blurry videos, blurry
or
photographs,
pictures. Yeah.
yeah, and stories.
Yeah. And with the release of AI,
Ooh.
It's hard these days to kind of trust anything.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like you think that there could be even more fake videos?
Nowadays, yeah. Yeah, I really do. And that blends into any other topic. You're talking about aliens, you're talking about, different beings, the owl man, all that, you know, paranormal kind of stuff.
I'm sorry. Did you just say owl man?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, there's like some owl man.
I
Anyway, that's off topic.
yeah yeah
But
okay.
yeah, so I just think that, nowadays it's kind of hard to compare, uh, you know, recent footage with, the birth of technology and kind of moving in on the space.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna. I mean, because people are just. I don't know. They're gonna have fun with AI. I'm sure. And
They already are.
well, yeah. Well, yeah. You can definitely see it. I mean, especially like I mean, I suppose it's somewhat related. Is like even on like Facebook. I guess the algorithm is trying to feed me some of these weird stories, right? And some of the
Mm,
pictures for these stories are just clearly AI generated. Like some group of
yep.
explorers found a weird monument and it looks incredible and crazy, but clearly, there's some abnormalities still to the AI
Hmm.
images that it makes it quite obvious.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of people don't even, dig into the metadata of these photos. They just kind of let it pass their eyes, and then they come to a conclusion. A lot of people don't even go as far as researching what they see.
yeah. But
But this year and the year in itself is actually I was saying it the other day, is the Chinese wild man.
yeah, I think there are some stories where they were I think they are shorter. They're not the 10 feet tall, if I'm not mistaken. They're not the 10 foot tall creatures that we have here in the United States, or
Mm.
but that the Chinese sort of empire, Chinese empires, came and went, but that some of them had forced the Yeren to fight. I think even right,
Oh,
and they turn them into like almost the front line and just use these creatures. I mean,
how how outside the possibility of, origins are you willing to go? Because I've heard stories from people, and online about, uh, what are they called? Uh, Fallen angels that are giants.
um, oh, and so these might be the Bigfoot. I
Oh, the Nephilim.
yeah, yeah,
So
sure, the Nephilim.
so so how, like, do you think you could correlate, like, the stories of the Nephilim to Bigfoot and their existence?
Oh man, dude, that is one of the many rabbit holes that you like I'm not prepared for. I'm not prepared for
Neither am
that
I.
one.
No, but you hear about these things, you
Well,
you get down into
it was like
TikTok and shit like that.
like years ago. Like I was a security guard. I used to work the third shift, and I used to listen to a show called Coast to Coast AM, the biggest even today radio station on. They cover all the topics, all the
Mhm.
UFOs,
Yeah, I've heard of
cryptids.
them. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So I do remember hearing specifically one story about a Bigfoot meeting or like being in contact with UFOs. Like some person had been in a field and they had witnessed allegedly, a couple of big feet. I think even white Bigfoot. That's its own thing. Is like white big feet.
White Bigfoot.
Yeah, but like
Getting
meeting.
into race now.
Yeah,
It's-
but like meeting with a UFO. So I mean,
okay.
there are like so many different. Are they shoot trans-dimensional? That kind of stuff. Are they spirit beings? All that. I mean, I don't honestly. Like there's no proof that they even exist. First off, so like then people like I can't entertain that they are trans-dimensional beings if we don't even have proof that they exist in the first place? I mean, you're just trying to add extra stuff onto it.
Well, that's why I asked. What are your thoughts on like joining some of these rabbit holes to kind of
They're fun.
yeah.
Uh,
So have you heard of Andrew Dawson, the story of this TikToker dude?
no, I have not.
So I live in BC, in British Columbia, in Canada, and this TikToker named Andrew Dawson. You see on his TikTok that he's zooming in on a mountain, and you see this little figure on top of this mountain, and it looks like it's a giant moving around at the top of this peak. And he's like, holy crap, I see a giant. He had his buddy with him in the truck. Well, he keeps zooming in on this thing, and you can see a little bit of movement. And then you see, he does a blurb to the camera, TikTok, and then he comes back the next day, and then he sees a bunch of helicopters, military aircraft, moving towards it. And then all of a sudden, you see this big sort of outpost the next day, covered in like tenting, like camo tenting, stuff like that. And then the next image, you see him looking at the camera, saying, "Yeah, everything I said, it was false," And then he's looking off camera like he's scared, and then the kid went missing. And this has been covered by some huge YouTubers such as Y-Files. I looked up the the publication. What do you call that again? When you die, you get
an obituary.
Obituary. So you look up the obituary, and
so he died.
It's on Vancouver Island, and there's an actual obituary for this kid. I looked it up myself, and I was like, "No, there's no way. This has to be fake."
I'm gonna need the sources for this one. My guess.
Yeah. So Andrew Dawson is his name. If you want to take a look,
Andrew Dawson.
Andrew Dawson.
Some views. There was a similar story. I feel like in South America or like some kind of Latin American country where the same thing. It sounds very, very familiar.
Where he saw something, the military came in and imposed their.
Yeah, and then the guy died. Yep, it's
just
like
mysteriously died.
It almost sounds verbatim, like because there. I remember probably last year, not even that long ago, like a same type of story about someone seeing a tall figure on a mountain, and then it was on TikTok, and then the person who recorded the video died.
I wonder if that's the same story.
I am a highly skeptical of this, but yeah, I want to see it. I want to see the source for that. So, all right, but anyway, so like, you think there could be different races of Bigfoot? Because like I had mentioned, like the white ones, very briefly.
Well, if we're going by just most species of animal, they have variations. We don't have a single human entity. We all look exactly this way and have these character traits. We have different races. We have different features, and we have hairier people, such as yourself. We have somewhat hairy people, such as myself. We have bald people that have no hair. We have different shades of skin. Yeah. We have different shapes and sizes. I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility of having variations.
Sure.
It's also going to be a product of their environment.
Yeah, I guess you have black bears, you have brown bears, polar bears, all different sure. Fur colors or hair
white
colors.
Bears.
Yeah, so yeah, I suppose if Bigfoot's real, I mean, you could have Bigfoot with different types of hair color. Although, I mean, if there were Bigfoot with white hair, I feel like that would be counterproductive to anything in the Pacific North. They would have to be very far north. Like very.
Yeah, but we do have the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
just above us. So
How
would that be migration?
how far north have you traveled?
Um, if you look on your map, I've worked just by the Northwest Territories border in Alberta. That's about it.
Okay. Okay.
So it is tundra, lots of bugs,
Lots of bugs. Okay.
lots of bugs. It's like, almost like swamp like, but
Okay.
northern tundra is very I don't know, it's hard to explain.
The tundra of the Northwest Canadian Territory.
Yeah. I mean if you go below that below Alaska, you have Yukon, and then to the east of that you have Northwest Territories.
Okay, and you said it was Alberta.
Yeah, the very tip of Alberta into Northwest Territories is the farthest I've gone.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm looking it up on my computer machine. Okay. Okay. Dude, I guess I don't know Canada that well. So that's pretty far north.
Yeah, I mean, in the summertime, uh, the sun doesn't set until like 1 a.m. So you have to tape like bags on your windows, and then the
Dude,
sun comes out again at 4 a.m.
that would be awesome.
No, kids are tramping. They're jumping on the trampoline at 1 a.m. and they have school the next day. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Go to bed.
Yeah, yeah, keeping you up.
Okay. Oh man. Yeah.
So, so how about like the skunk ape? Okay, so we're
Yeah.
talking about color. Does the skunk ape have like a stripe on it? Has it been identified as this
No,
as a
I
stripe, or is it the
no, no,
smell?
no, no. Yeah, I think it's just the smell. And
Okay.
Bigfoot, big feet, whatever you want to call them.
Hmm.
The main one of the main descriptors is a very bad, overpowering smell.
What would
And
cause that? Is that diet? It
um,
just unkept, uncleanly?
it would probably be a combination. I mean, I sometimes I will peruse Reddit, and so the r/Bigfoot on Reddit, you know, some people think that they eat intestines, right? And intestines are filled with, you know, some not great smelling stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But actually, it is the stories behind Bigfoot are very interesting. I've heard stories about that the people who live in the areas where Bigfoot is supposed to live is like if you leave two, you're like if you want to leave them a gift, you're supposed to leave them two of the same gift. Like if you want to leave them a fish,
Wow.
you're supposed to leave them two, and they will only take one.
And
Because
why is that?
it, the reasoning behind this is like they're not greedy, I guess. They are, they're nice creatures that like they are human like enough to not,
Okay.
yeah, like so, like if I were to invite you to my place and I say, hey, help yourself out to the stuff in my fridge, are you going to empty it all, or are you are you, right? But
This day and age, yep. Yeah, man.
no,
If you're offering me beer, then I will drain your fridge.
okay.
That shit's expensive.
Then maybe if if you invited me to your house, right, and you're like, hey, help yourself to the beer in my fridge. I wouldn't, me personally, I would not empty your fridge. I would take out, at least like maybe at most 50%, maybe 60%. I would not take all of your food and beer.
Yeah, I get it.
And
I get
and
you.
and and so like this is the same, according to, right. And now I'm just talking about something that I heard, is that, they don't want to take everything that you have. So you cannot leave them one because they won't just take one because, maybe you need that. But if you leave
Oh, I
them,
see.
yeah. So if you leave them two, they'll, they know that you have, enough, I guess, and they'll just take the one, right?
I see.
That is
Okay.
one of the stories. But then of course there are stories of, people being kidnapped. So, but these big feet are all over the place.
Do you think that this is, people causing shit, that they're going out and planting these big footprints,
Yeah, absolutely,
and people
obviously. Yeah.
are
Yeah.
okay? What about the hair samples that they plant with it? What would that be from? Is that camel hair? Is
Yeah,
that
no, as far as I'm aware, nothing has come back conclusive. And and you could like if you really want to argue, you could say, well, of course it's going to come back inconclusive because we don't have like an actual Bigfoot to compare it to, right?
yeah?
So like obviously, but there was someone sent in the 1960s, I believe, and it's been like declassified, or you can find it online. But someone had sent in hair samples to the FBI, and it was like, test this, which I'm sure would be a weird thing to open up. Like if you're the person in the mail room or the person who has to open up this piece of mail and there's like hair in it and a letter
Hmm.
from some random civilian who's like, test this hair, I think it's from Bigfoot. I mean, I might, but anyway, someone had sent in a hair sample to the FBI in the 60s, and it was inconclusive. So yeah,
They open it up and they tell them put that in the inconclusive pile.
unless you have a body or something to compare it to, yeah,
Yeah.
then it's just, I mean, like what? It's
Do you know who Les Stroud is?
Lestrade? No,
Les Stroud,
less. Oh, I feel like
Survivor Man.
yeah,
So
yeah,
he
yeah.
he was the opposite of Bear Grylls. He was do it yourself,
He
set up
was
your
the
own
real
cameras,
guy,
not
right?
have. Yeah, he was the real guy.
He was the real guy.
Sponsored by Gerber. Uh, he went on a tangent where he wanted to look for Bigfoot. I did watch that series. I don't know much about Bigfoot. I don't really, venture into these kind of topics, but I do find them fun to talk about with people that do. And yeah, it was an interesting series. Again, nothing conclusive, but I believe he was talking about uh, just some board with nails they put up, and they found like skin torn off because one of this board was stepped on by one of these big footprints, and it
Okay,
left a sample of skin behind and blood, along with the hair. I
okay,
don't know.
all right,
I,
all right,
I, I don't know if this is bear hair. I don't know if this is planted
right.
or what, but
I
you know,
so I mean, I feel like there must have been some kind of results, like it. They must have tested it. They must have, right? And I mean, so I don't know. I feel like the only way
so
to
he- yeah, so he did like Survivor Man Bigfoot last unaired episode. I believe was like 2021.
okay,
Yeah,
and then well, I must and nothing must have come from that. Then I suppose, but yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyway,
there's a thing on here on YouTube. It says Les Stroud Survivor Man Bigfoot caught on tape. Something moving in the trees,
yeah,
right?
yeah, man, I've seen that one too. I don't, man, I don't know. I don't know. What What do you think, man? So like, if you were walking in the woods, right, and you came across a Bigfoot, I mean, do you think you would give it some beef jerky? Your Jack Link's beef jerky?
If I came across Bigfoot in the wild, I mean, what do you do? The, if it's not attacking you, then yeah, I probably would. I'd probably toss it a beer, see if
You
it wants some.
toss it. Oh hell yeah,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
have a beer with Bigfoot. Why not?
Have a beer with Bigfoot, and then man,
Mazel tov, bro.
Miles. I didn't bring my beer tonight, but I think
No, I think I don't know anybody in that situation. If that were to exist, you wouldn't even know what to think in that situation. It would just be like a fight or flight um, you'd probably just be awestruck. And I wonder if, part of these sightings is that people get in their own head and maybe it is a bear.
Could
Maybe
be.
it's, walking upon a bear and they both startle each other and because you have that fight or flight response, you don't see clearly what you're looking at. Um, don't remember the details straight. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like some of those might be like mistaking a bear for a Bigfoot at a distance, but it depends. Like if you're real close, I mean, I don't know how you could confuse a bear with Bigfoot. Like if they're right up on you. I mean,
I
and
don't know. I
and
mean, grizzlies are pretty huge, man.
yeah, like I'm not even gonna bother trying to give a bear a beer. I mean, I'm just running. I mean, because I'm probably with someone too, right?
Yeah.
And it's that saying, like, I don't have to be the fastest, man. I just gotta outrun you, right? So
Here you go. Here's some beef jerky.
yeah,
See you later.
dude, I will I will whatever food I have, I'll take it out, I'll throw it at the bear, and I'll run.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have whatever
I'm
response,
not
but
I'm not yeah. I feel like living in Canada, it should almost be mandatory just because of all of the nature that's up there that you have at least a 45 on your hip. Like it should be mandatory, right?
gun laws, man.
Yeah,
Our government here is something else.
yeah. I mean, you guys must have like, I mean, like even handguns, right? Just
Nope,
like
those are banned.
you're seriously. I mean,
Seriously.
so you're hiking out in the woods, and then you're just like what supposed to
As of this last year, handguns are banned
you're supposed to
in Canada.
die.
They are trying to ban all firearms in Canada. That means Grandpa Joe can't go out and hunt.
Ye-
That means the natives who live off the land, uh, this is in my opinion, this is their land, and they're not allowed to, you know, own firearms.
That
Isn't that nuts?
yeah, that is pretty nuts. I mean, I guess have fun. I mean, like never go hiking. I don't know how. I mean, you must have
Bear spray.
bears.
That's it.
Bear
That's
spray.
it.
Okay, all
That's
right.
it.
Well. I mean, I guess it's just incentive to have more kids, so you have more people to sacrifice, so you can get away. You know. It's a dark joke. I know, but hell, man,
I know.
you gotta.
I know. It's also a dark joke that we can't have guns.
Yeah, the government's taking your guns, so I have to have some way to get away from a bear. So let me have more kids to distract the bear with.
Yeah.
But
Blow some pepper in its face.
yeah.
Bury some black pepper with you.
Oh, maybe you can show it a card trick.
Yeah.
Carry.
Yeah, or tell it a dad joke, like turn it right off that it doesn't want to even look at you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, you're not that far from the U.S. border. You can apply for citizenship.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All
I
right.
don't know.
So,
Yeah. Well, the thing that I keep going back to with all these stories, especially in Bigfoot, is like, how is it such part of our pop culture? Like Harry and the Hendersons. I loved that movie as a kid. Have you seen it?
I've seen parts of it. I can't. I probably saw it a while ago, but not recently. It's probably I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. But like, why is Bigfoot such a big part of our culture?
Yeah.
Great question. I don't know.
Is it just the unknown and that has the selling factor because it's the unknown, so you can spin your own story and people gobble it up?
Uh,
Or is it really, part of our history that all these legends and stories are, kind of bleeding forth into modern day, and people are just searching for what all these myths and legends speak about?
I don't know. It might be some of that. It might be some of this sort of residual remembrance of these creatures, but it is a humanoid creature, right? So there is
Yeah.
some kind of recognition of a human-like, a humanoid creature. So the,
Bipedal, walks on 2 feet.
by yeah, and it is living the life that we used to live, right? Right. It is a creature of the land,
Mm.
and I would assume they do not pay taxes unless there's some secret
Probably not.
Bigfoot government, and they require, like, 15% of the bark that you earn each, like, I don't know, whatever Bigfoot would earn in money. What is Bigfoot money? I don't know. Do they have money? And it's yeah. So
Aries.
it's a primitive. Um,
Photowops, right?
yeah, I don't know. I would look at shows like yeah. I don't know. All of these shows on, like, Discovery Channel or History Channel or whatever, where they feature people in, like, remote locations, right? Like people who, like, Alaska,
Hmm.
and they're living this rough life. I mean, like, why is that interesting? I don't know, man. Why is that interesting? I think part of the reason why that is interesting is why people are interested in Bigfoot. I mean, it's like a primitive style of existence. And also, yeah, you could just go with a mythical factor. Sure. They'd be like, would you watch a show on unicorns? Probably. So, so I mean, like, I'm all for watching the show on Bigfoot too.
Yeah. So, do we humans do we derive from like Cro-Magnon men, mankind?
Do we come from them?
Oh, heck.
I
Yeah. So, like, so what's Cro-Magnon mean? What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, there's
I
Cro-Magnon, there's Neanderthal.
Yeah, I think we're an amalgamation of a bunch of these different people. There's probably some interbreeding going on there, and so we're just like,
Okay, so do you think there's a possibility that we as humans evolved into what we are now, mainly skin with very light, uh, hair all over our bodies? Do you think it's out of the realm of possibility that there was a line or a lineage that didn't evolve, and that's just the existence, the remnants of the Neanderthals or the Cro-Magnon,
so wait,
whatever that's
so
called.
like Bigfoot is a different.
Yeah, more so Neanderthal, I guess,
Uh,
or
could
human like.
their Neanderthals were pretty short, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they were shorter than our common ancestors back then, right? I mean, um, yeah. I I don't know. My whole problem is, well, one of the problems I suppose I have is the height. Like, these Bigfoot is supposed to be like 10 feet tall, and I don't think there
Mm.
is any evidence of any past human species being that tall. There may have been genetic defects. Maybe they find some bones of an extra large person who may have had, but I mean, it's not like they're finding tons and tons of bones of people being 10 feet tall, right? Or, like,
Yeah.
ancient ancestors. So it's this whole creatures of large height like that on two legs.
It says here, however, some Neanderthal, predominantly of European and African origin, are known to have exceeded at least 9 feet in height.
Bullshit. Who says that?
Wiki,
Wiki.
Wikipedia.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that. All right. So now you have two things to send me. One, I mean, you have to send me the link to that,
Okay.
and then what was the other link that I asked for?
Oh, this kid, Andrew
Oh,
Dawson,
yeah.
the
The
TikTok
kid.
guy.
All right. So there's two things that you're gonna have to send me. that I'm gonna have to look, because I. So, all right. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to say I don't know on that.
Mm.
But I mean, like,
I'll also link those in the description below if you guys want to check
sure,
any of that stuff out.
I'll definitely check it out.
All right.
Like the tallest person ever that we know of was I don't know what his name was, but he was like 8 feet 11 inches tall, and like he died at 22 years old because he like there was some kind of circulatory uh, problems, some nerve issues. Like he had developed a sore or like an open wound on one of
Because he
his.
was just too fucking big.
Yeah, he was too big, and so he had
Mm.
like an open sore, an open wound on one of his legs that got infected, and he couldn't feel it because he was so tall. Like it like
Okay, gangrene.
you know, and then he died. I mean that sucks, and because he was so tall, and he wasn't even
Yeah.
10 feet tall. He was only 11 feet, like 8 feet 11 inches,
Yeah.
and so
Okay.
I mean the physical structure would have to be pretty robust on these creatures, right? As they're
Mhm.
supposed to be. I mean, they're gonna have to be some thick boys and girls. I mean, pretty strong bones. Um, I don't. There is that physical aspect. Some of them are, I guess, 6 feet tall.
So, like the skunk ape, you said was smaller or classified as smaller.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So yeah, you're right. I think the skunk ape is not as tall as like you would say, something you would see in the Pacific Northwest. So
Yeah, but apparently, like the abominable snowman, Yeti, is quite large.
yeah. Well,
And would you say that because that's more of a like a sub?
is the Yeti supposed to be tall? I mean, I thought the Yeti was actually pretty short too. I mean, the ones in Asia are even like 5 feet tall almost.
Mm.
Okay. I mean,
And they always give these ratios. The Yeti is said to be muscular, covered with dark grayish or reddish brown hair, and weigh between 200 and 400 pounds.
gotcha.
That's double.
Yeah,
Like, how is that a
yeah. So,
how's that a category?
uh,
Tibetan Himalayas.
yeah, no.
National Geographic. This man searched for the Yeti for 60 years and found it.
Did he?
1951, a British explorer named Eric Shipton and found a footprint that appeared to be hominoid.
Uh, I, I, I was that in the 1920s. I may have heard of that one.
1951.
Oh, okay, 1980.
See that's my problem I have with all this is this guy said to have seen this, or this guy, or this explorer, or this person said to have seen that or witnessed that.
Well,
Which one interests you most out of all of them?
in like Yeti, Bigfoot, skunk ape, that
Yep.
that.
Yeren, Yowie, Woodwoes.
Uh,
I don't know what etc. would be, but
so which one would it like interest me the most?
yeah.
I would say it would probably be the Bigfoot, just whatever may be in the Pacific Northwest, because that one seems like if any of these are going to be real, it's probably that one,
Mhm.
right? The land that it has to roam is pretty vast. It's pretty remote. So that would
Mountainous.
yeah, that would be the best chance, right?
Okay.
And also, I mean, it's like I'm on the same continent as that one. I mean, the Yeti is very interesting, but it would be a lot harder for me to get over to China. And also, I don't want to get off the train or plane and piss anyone off and end up in Chinese jail. I mean, I don't know. So I the one that interests me most is the one here.
Okay.
Yeah. And
And
then
Sasquatch, is that a term? Is that a like a native term for
yeah,
Bigfoot?
Yeah, that Sasquatch is like a mispronunciation or a European mispronunciation of a native term. Like I think it's called Sasket, Sasquatch.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's like Sasquet, something like that.
it's just like Sasquatch,
Yeah,
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch, Sasket. I mean, so uh, hey, it is what it is. I mean, does it really matter what we call it? I'm sure they probably call themselves something different if they exist. I mean, they probably. I don't. What do they call us? What do you think the Bigfoot term is for humans?
The smooth people.
The smooth people. The
Yeah,
the
smooth skins.
oh man, yeah. The ugly like I mean honestly like have you ever seen like a mole rat or like a hairless cat? I mean those
Yeah,
things are ugly, dude. That's probably how we look to Sasquatch, right? Or like even apes, even like a gorilla is probably looking at a human and going ew.
man. I look at some people and I go, ew.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
So yeah,
So your name, why is it with a W? Is it a play on like, hey, watch my docu series, or is it
yeah,
that's how it's spelled?
yeah. It's just a play on words. Sasquatch.
I like it. It works.
That and I was able to secure it on YouTube. I mean, they came out with like the whole name thing too, right? How you could have
Oh,
your
like
own
the handle,
the
the
handle.
at.
Yeah, I was able to secure the at Sasquatch
Oh,
handle.
nice.
So not nothing extra to it. So that's pretty. Yeah, I lucked out on that one.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Well, as far as encounters go, what would you say is the most prolific besides the 1967 footage?
that
Because that's the one that's always, everyone's like it's been debunked.
I wouldn't even say the Patterson Gimlin film that encounter is necessarily even that prolific, right? Because like the only reason why it is because it was caught on film, right, or supposedly caught on film.
Mm.
There are even more fantastic stories out there that if caught on film would be far more prolific.
What's
So
your what would be the
probably
most prolific that you've seen or heard, I guess.
probably the one that I brought up of a hairy wild man jumping out and ripping the head off a horse. That would be pretty prolific. Um, uh, there are a lot of stories
How
like
about how about post World War I?
post World War One.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are tons of those. Uh, I think a lot of the stories that I've seen, because I like to look into old stories, are the like native stories and like people being carried
Mm.
off, especially women. That is one of the aspect of Bigfoot encounters or Sasquatch encounters, is that women are carried off, and then maybe they come back pregnant. You know, so
Damn.
yeah, or like Sasquatches stalking people, following people back to their homes. The,
Collecting baby mamas.
they could.
No child support either. Damn.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck collecting on that.
Savage, man.
Good luck collecting on that. Did you like other than those? I mean, just stories that I've read about, you know, those kind of relations with Bigfoot. I mean, were there any that you can think of? I mean,
Really just this Andrew Dawson guy on TikTok. That was kind of the latest thing. Um, I used to watch Survivor Man a lot. So when he said he was kind of doing this series on trying to find Bigfoot, I mean, whatever. I'm open. You know, I'm not gonna stiff the guy because all of a sudden he said Bigfoot and now I'm not a fan. He is good at what he does and he does survive. He's still alive, so he must not have found him.
all right, man. Well, I think this is probably a good place to end it for now. What do you think?
Sure.
Good to
Yeah.
go. All right, Mr. AI. Who am AI?
What do you think? Let's end it with that. What are your thoughts? Do you believe this is real or this is to be decided?
I'm 90% sure Bigfoot is not real.
90%.
90% sure. I mean,
Okay.
at this point, we should have something. There should be something out there. I don't think I'll ever be 100% just because I don't think I want to live in a world where Bigfoot absolutely does not exist. Let's just keep a little bit of the magic left in this world. So at most I could ever be is probably 99%. But
Okay.
like if I'm going to Vegas, if I'm gonna put money on it, I think the odds are probably not. Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah. And are you gonna are you gonna
You
put
my
away?
my spot's 99.9. I'm gonna leave that sliver of hope.
Yeah, you man. You can't
We
say
just
it isn't
the
real.
technology's too good. I mean, we have like the camera technology. We have satellite footage. We have all of it. You know.
Well, we just need to get thousands of people together with like hundreds of drones and just
Yep. Yeah.
mob
Just
and over the
grab
woods.
all of the population of Vancouver and link arms and just start walking over those mountains, man.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. All right, man.
Let's
I
do it.
think I think we're good to go. This is it.
Cool.
It's been an hour. All right.
All right.
So, hey, it's been fun. Good talking. Hey, we'll see you again.
See you guys.